In the first year of my 144-year prison sentence handed to me by the Commonwealth of Virginia, all suspended, but having to serve 19 years, all the way back in 2004, I'll never forget it, while being on Sussex 2, there was an escape attempt. And as a matter of fact, during my entire period of incarceration, that was the only legitimate escape attempt I was there for, or on a camp where one actually happened. And what I'll say was unique about this was everything was like a movie. I mean, this prison in itself reminded you of that old Nicolas Cage movie, The Rock, or whatever it was. Like, literally, it was more of a fortress, if you will. And just the simple notion of somebody being able to make it off, well, man, they had heart, or maybe they were just desperate, because 70% of the prison had a life sentence. And I don't know, with the amount of time I had, I'm not going to lie and sit here and say I didn't think about it once or twice if I could make it over the fence or, somehow make it home. But then what? And I think that's the thought that a lot of us face when we're going through our period of incarceration, if you will. So anyways, what happened was we were coming back from the chow hall. And at this time on this camp, this prison, it was controlled movement, which means you ate with your pod and you walked the boulevard with your pod. And the way they kept the pods separate, even from the rec yards to the boulevard, was everything was fenced in and you would move from one gated section to the next. And this was designed to protect individuals because of the level of violence on this prison. Now, it wasn't foolproof. If you've been following my content, you've heard other stories of things happening. And this one particular day, an attack happened when we were coming back from the chow hall. Two individuals out of nowhere. And might I add, one of the individuals wasn't even in our pod. Somehow he had made his way into the chow hall with us. I don't know. It's not uncommon. People 212, at least that's the code or the rule that people break in the prisons that I was at. When they go to an unauthorized area, if you will, it's a 200 series charge. People did it all the time. And usually people would do that just because they were trying to go pick up something, get some money, whatever it was, right? But this individual was in an unauthorized area with a pod that he wasn't supposed to be, because he had the opportunity to attack and try to unalive the person that took his father's life years ago when he was a child. And that's the thing about prison that I want to add up, or just life, period. Yo, be careful the seeds you plant, because you don't know how they're going to grow up one day. And this individual who had already been locked up for 10, 15, whatever years was probably going through his prison sentence, not thinking for 1 second he would ever run into the son of the man whose life he took. But lo and behold, karma dealt him a hand that day. And while he was getting attacked, and read between the lines, if you will, really attacked, with a piece of steel, all the guards were running to aid and assist, break up the fight, whatever it was. But at the same time, they started calling a code over the boulevard. And I remember all of us were like huddled up trying to figure out what was going on. They telling us to get down. We can't move. We're trapped in a cage. Dude's poking dude up. It's a show. And at the same time, all of a sudden you just hear, they call another code. And I didn't really know what that code was at the time. But not evidently, there was an escape attempt going on at the same exact time. And rumor has it to this day that the attack was planned as a distraction, even though it was going to happen, but they planned it to happen at the same time. And then there was other versions of the story that said the two individuals that saw an opportunity to escape just seen one when a code was called. I don't know. I wasn't part of the elaborate plan. But what happened was, while the individual was getting attacked, two individuals that were working in the kitchen found their way somehow onto the back dock and into a semi-truck that was there dropping off vegetables, whatever it was, for the kitchen. And they got into the truck. But the unfortunate part was they didn't have their CDLs. No, they didn't know how to drive or operate a semi-truck. They didn't know how to operate the air brakes. At least that's the story that the COs were saying. And one of the correction officers, if not a few, were able to stop them in their tracks. And I'm not trying to make light of the situation, but again, for somebody that was like in year one, holy crap, like it was going down, like left, right, in between. I had seen people get hurt really bad. That was one thing. I seen people get robbed. I seen people run in cells. I seen all types of stuff my year one. But the escape attempt was like next level, because after that, we ended up being locked down for like 3 weeks, literally. And that's when I learned, about fishing and, all the other survival skills that you need while you're in prison. that you'll also see in my content if you've been checking out any of it or you're staying tuned. So yeah, escape attempts do happen. That was the only one that I was there for. And it's real, man. I have seen while I was incarcerated, I want to say this, we're watching the news, somebody made it off a road camp, etc. They done got away. But usually they were always caught within a few hours or a few days. So, I don't know, man. Moral of the story, so you don't have to worry about stuff like that. Stay free.